good to see you.
Good to see you. Alright, welcome to today's episode. Today I have my father here. I usually call him my father because he has been a great dad to us ever since we came to the US. He gave us advice, and sometimes it's very difficult, like someone will just wake up one day and invite you to his house to come and eat for free without you even paying for it. And I know he has a lot of things to share with you. Stay tuned today for having us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
We have been waiting, and for the past week now I've been thinking about some of the questions and some of the things that I would love to ask you, and people also love to hear from your story. And I know like you have a lot of advice, a lot of message to share with our audience today. Without much being said, can you please tell us a little bit about over the years your stays here, how the journey has been?
Coming to the US has not been always easy. It hasn't always been easy. Coming from Ghana as an immigrant, just like you are, there's always an excitement, going to a different country.
Of course.
When given the opportunity, we all want to jump on that opportunity. But one thing that we always forget about is it's a whole different world when we come out here. Different cultures, different principles, different traditions, environment, seasonality, rules, laws, regulations. So when we come out here as young men and women, sometimes it can be daunting. So that is what I meant by the journey hasn't been easy. But I first came here from Denmark in the 80s as a young kid, just like you are now. On a special program organized by the American Hosting Association that brings students from all over the world to participate in this program. That was what brought me to the States in the 80s. Like you said, I have a lot of stories to tell. I don't know if you have enough time today to tell you the whole story.
We are ready for you, Pops.
But came to the program, completed the program. Was fortunate enough to have some kind of internship with a lady that took me on in the state of Connecticut, where I worked for 2 years for this lady in the capacity of ag. It was an ag business, so she had a dairy farm. My passion is ag, and that's what I always pursued. That led me to meeting my now wife, whom I've been married to for the last 32 years now, with 4 kids. We now have 6 grandkids. She definitely has been a rock, right? She's been the solid rock, the wind beneath my wings, as the saying goes. Because without her being part of the journey, I don't think it would have been easy. Because there was a time that I thought about even returning back to Ghana, because that's how hard things were. But I'm very happy that I persevered and endured and stood fast. And I'm proud to say I've been here 36 years now, I think. So it's been quite a journey. It's been long.
That's a long way to go. A long way to come to. But perhaps for about 36 to 35, if I'm right.
Yes.
To be honest, I read a lot about you, and I was so inspired by the things that you have done and all the things that you have accomplished. What are some of the challenges that you have been able to overcome, and what did you learn from those experiences?
That's a great question. Like I said, challenges will come and go. Some of the difficult challenges that have actually faced me over the years has always been the fact that my family, and when I mean by family, I'm talking about my core African family, having been around my journey. I've always felt like a lone wolf, even though I have people around me that love and support me throughout my stay in the States to this point. They've always been that missing link. So I'll give you an example. So growing up, I was the first child of 7, being the oldest son of 7 kids. And in our typical home in Ghana, where we do things together, right? We look up to our elders, our brothers, our sisters. Although coming to America has been a great blessing for me, it has also been a big sacrifice, in the sense that I felt like I lost that connection with my own siblings because I left home at a very, very young age. And now in my 50s, almost going to close to 60 now, I have lost that privilege of getting to know my siblings and vice versa. They don't know who their big brother is. Even though we know each other, how we look like, but we don't know each other like we're supposed to know each other. That has been tough. Losing my mother probably 13 years ago, 14 years ago.
Sorry for that.
Was tough and it's still tough. Because we travel abroad and we think everything is fine, but when you lose a loved one such as your mother, and at the time not being able to travel home at the time, because of obligations and responsibilities, was tough. So those are the few challenges. Not knowing my own siblings as I would like to, not being there to bury my own mother when she passed away, and finally I was diagnosed with brain tumor. That was probably when I was 40 years old. So that was 18 years ago.
That must be tough.
Having been diagnosed with brain tumor. No family around besides my wife, of course. Nobody to call to come and take care of the kids whilst I was in the hospital, whilst my wife was running back and forth to the hospital. Those were challenging times.
So upon all those difficulties, moments, the experience and everything, what actually helped you to stay motivated and kept you going?
In life you have to persevere, right? You have to be persistent. You have to be accountable for your own choices and things that you do. What motivated me the most is my family, which is my children, my wife, and my children, right? So as a father, my number one God-given responsibility is to be there for my children. You cannot quit, right? When the journey gets tough for most fathers, unfortunately, they throw in the towel and off they go, right? Leaving the kids along with their mothers, or leaving the kids along with whomever. But my kids have always been my motivation because I was committed to seeing those kids grow up as adults and live their own lives, which, luckily I have accomplished.
Before you become great, you have to make a lot of sacrifices.
Absolutely.
Because great people don't do great things. It's men with conviction that do something great. And for the past few minutes, what you just said, it just shows that you have sacrificed a lot to be who you are today, for your family and everything. Even to a point where you lost your mom and you were not able to go to say goodbye, your last goodbye to your mom. At what point in your life did you feel like you really wanted to give up?
You can't give up. You're an athlete. You're an outstanding athlete. A long distance runner. The mindset is the same. A great athlete, you just don't quit half the race. You have to persevere, right?
Yeah.
So it has never been easy, and quitting has never been an option. Never been an option. It may be for some other people, but my DNA doesn't allow me to quit.
That's profound. Quitting is not an option. It's true, because like you said, being an athlete, sometimes in the middle of the race is tough. You feel like, oh, I really want to stop this race, but you remember all the investments, time, sleepless nights and all that, you still keep on going.
Yes.
I think that's really profound. So what advice would you give to your 20-year self, looking at how far you have come so far?
The advice that I've given him back then is, educate yourself in finance, right? Finance is something that in Ghana, or where we come from, as a young man and young kids, it's never stressed enough, right? Investing in your future, through finance. And what I mean by that is, in the Western world, especially let's use America as an example, financial literacy is a key to your future. Where we come from, we grow up and we hope that our kids someday will take care of us, right? In the Western world, it's not always the case. So my 20-year-old self, if I had known then what I know today, I would have started investing. Buying shares, buying stocks. I would have started investing back in my 20s. And even though I wasn't able to do that back then, I have instilled that into my children. I'm proud to say my 20-year-old kid, who's now, a nurse, bought her first home when she was 23 years old, right after graduating West Texas A&M. My 21-year-old son, who's attending UNT, University of Northern Texas, is already investing. So money makes money, right? So my 20-year-old self, back to your question, if I had known what I know today, if I had invested at that early age, I probably would have been retired by now. So that would be the number one advice I'd have given myself, is the financial literacy.
Yeah, to invest in yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
For the future.
So, Per, what you just said, what would you say to someone who is seeking to be financially independent, financially get a financial freedom at an early age? What would you say to such a person?
There are some key things to that, right? There's some key things to that. In America, there's something always called the credit score, right? We live and die by the credit score. What is your credit score? Is it 750? Is it 800? Is it what? Is it excellent? Is it bad? Is it fair? Is it good? You cannot buy anything in this country that the first question they're going to ask you is, we have to check your credit. Okay? So my advice to young people is, first of all, don't get yourself in debt if you can help it. When you guys graduate from high school and you graduate from college, all those credit card companies have the tendency of, just giving out the credit cards like it's candy. And the sad reality is, kids don't know how to manage that. So because they have a $2,000 limit on the credit card, they go and they spend the $2,000. They don't realize that you have to pay all the money back. And if you don't pay it back on time, it accrues interest. So taking a $2,000 credit card, if you don't pay it on time, 19% interest or 20% interest accrued. If you don't pay that, that's how they get you. So my advice in that regard is, you might want to take one or two credit cards or open one or two, accounts just to establish credit. And when you as a consumer wants to buy something, when your credits are being run with a higher credit score, you have the tendency of getting whatever you want to get. Okay? So avoid getting so many credit cards. Get one or two, for emergency purposes. Use it once in a while. When you're done using it for the month, make sure that at the end of the month, you pay all that balance. If you can. Build your credit.
What you said about the credit score, how the credit system work here in America, do you think if they implement the same policy in Africa, or especially in Ghana, would it be able to work perfectly the way it's working here?
No, that's a great question. Imagining that working is a great thought, right? I don't want to use the word fantasy, but it's not. Our system is not set up, right? The infrastructure, to manage that task or that challenge is not in place in the current times. And what I mean by that is, so I'll give you an example. So here in the States, when the baby is born, you're assigned a social security number, okay, right away, okay? With that social security number, you can get a driver's license, you can seek employment, you can get credit cards, you can buy a house, you can buy a car, everything is run through that social security number. When the credit companies want to run your credit scores, they run that through your social security number. With that said, in order for that to happen, there also has to be accountability. Okay, we have to hold each other accountable. If I buy from a creditor and I don't pay them back, they have the right to pursue me legally, right? So there have to be so many steps that has to come first in order for us to even begin to think that that's even a possibility. So I know Ghana has something called the Ghana card now, right? Where Ghanaians are expected, or those who can afford it, are supposed to get Ghana cards. But when we were born in Ghana, when I was born in 1967, I don't think there was such a thing as a social security number. I could be wrong, but I don't think there was such a thing. So for me, it can be done. There are other African countries that I think are working towards those, aspirations, as you mentioned. There's a possibility, but I don't think at this point, I don't think our dear country it's ready for that, or it's equipped to start imitating that same, structure that we have here. Unfortunately.
Okay, so looking at the system, how the system is working here and compared to back home in Africa, it will be a little bit challenging for them to bring that into existence. It's not like they can, but it will take a lot of time for them to do that, right?
Yes, it's about, first of all, it's about education, right? Educating the masses. Educating the citizens, educating the youth, the millennials, people that are up and coming. We the old generation, our time is pretty much gone for that, unfortunately. But it's going to take a lot of, education. Our rural areas, for example, Ghana is big, for a country in the western part of Africa. Different cultures, right? Different ethnicities, different beliefs. So the whole thing, in order to get it accomplished, we'll have to start from the grassroots, where we have to, educate our people of what we're trying to accomplish. And our immigration system on top of it, right? People can come from Togo and come to Ghana. People can come from Nigeria. I mean, we just cross the borders left and right. So all those things has to be managed adequately and efficiently to even begin to dream about such a thing even being possible in our country. In my humble opinion.
So, Pop, I know there's a lot of people that are watching us, a lot of people that are listening to us. What would you say to someone who wants to come to the US or who is in the US already? What are some of the things that they need to conform and some of the things that they don't need to conform whilst living in the US?
Trouble finds no one until you find trouble, right? So conforming, right? If I'm in my home, minding my own business, not looking for trouble will never find me. Okay? You gotta be conforming yourself to the law, the rules of the land, right? Keeping yourself accountable, holding yourself accountable. To me, that's key, right? They're saying that when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. Okay? So when you come to a new country, I don't care if it's in America, I don't care if it's in Denmark, I don't care if it's in Italy, wherever you go, first and foremost, you have to conform to the rules and the regulations of that land. That's the place to start. Now, with that said, there's also another saying that we say in America that, you cannot keep up with it. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Okay? So in other words, try to live within your means. Okay? If you make $10 a week, well, don't try to have a $20 habit. Just because your neighbor is, living that dream that you want, but you cannot afford it. Okay? Conform is not just external, it's also internal. You do what you need to do to stay afloat. So to me, those are the two key things. The rules of the land must be respected and acknowledged. And number two, you live within your own means at all times. And if you can do that coming to America or living in America, I think for the most part, that is probably half of the journey to success.
Most youth, they are finding this thing, they think like it's good. They say, fake it till you make it. And per what you just said, is like, they have $10, but they are pursuing something that is like maybe $20, which they know they can't afford it. But they still want others to see them like they are in this.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So fake it to make it is the same thing as saying trying to keep up with the Joneses. Because just because they bought a Mercedes Benz doesn't mean you should go buy a Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
Because you cannot afford it, but they can.
Okay, so looking at what you are saying, I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I think I need to really sit well and listen to you attentively. how do you turn setbacks into opportunities?
That's a great question, right? So, setbacks or failures in life, it's not been a bad thing, right? You know, I'm not a spiritual person per se, but based on my life experience on this earth, and in retrospect, thinking back of things that has happened to me over the years, I could have easily saw those things as setbacks, or I could have seen those things as failures. Having a brain tumor, right? So many years ago, I could have seen it as a setback. But guess what happened? That incident alone catapulted me from living in the state of Iowa to Texas, where somebody recruited me to come work for them in Texas, a big company. Okay? But having gone through that has actually made me even who I am now. I appreciate life more now so than even before. Because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, when I was down for 5 weeks, 6 weeks at home, not working, you know, seeing my wife go to work for the first time over those years, you know, made me appreciate it even more than ever before. Because when I was down, guess what? She took over the mantle and we moved on. So that brought us much, much closer together. So sometimes things may happen. You're a very spiritual young man, and I appreciate that about you. But if you're a faithful man of faith, you also know that things do happen for a reason. People use that word vaguely, but I truly believe that based on my personal life experiences, everything that has happened over the years was ordained. Call it God, call it Allah, call it, Buddha, call it whatever. Things, I believe, are ordained. But if you listen, you will understand what those setbacks are trying to tell you. If you listen.
So what would you say to someone who is watching us or listening to us that's facing any challenges in their life, going through difficulties? What would you say to such a person?
Challenges will be coming at all times, different times, right? In your life. But when those things do happen, first of all, you need to understand who are your true friends, who are your true family, who really has your back, and who does not, okay? When those things happen, you also got to realize that as much as you want other people to be there for you, you are truly supposed to be there for yourself. Number one. Okay? You are you, first and foremost. Your setbacks, your challenges sometimes may or not be anybody else's causing. Right? Things happen. But when those things happen, those are moments, you got to leverage to see who are the people around you that, number one, believe in you. Number two, are truly family. You mentioned you guys coming to my house and spending time with me and stuff like that. We're not blood related by any means, but we're family. How many times have you guys asked me, oh, Mr. Kwaku, Pops, if you're building anything on the house, we want to come and help, right? That's family. Okay, so when those setbacks happen, those challenges happen, they are going to happen. One way or the other before the day you die, something's going to happen. But when those things happen, you must take a deep breath, sit back, analyze the situation. Who are your sponsors? Who are your friends? Who are your support systems? That will guide you on how to move forward.
Oh, that's really profound. So what does success mean to you?
Success to me, what is meant to me is, we all have different definitions of success, right? Everybody has a different definition of success. Somebody's goal could be, if I can only finish high school, I'm successful.
Wow.
Somebody may say, if I can get a bachelor's degree, I'm successful. Somebody may say, well, I'm not going to be successful until I have a PhD. or double PhD or double masters or whatever you want to call it. So we all have our own thing that we deem as success. Okay. So for me, if you ask me, Mr. Kwaku or Pops, what is your definition of success? Is I'm very successful. Okay, not just in the professional sense, but also in the family sense. Okay. Work will be there all the time. Okay. A man gains absolutely nothing, which the Bible talks about. You can have all the money in the world, you can have all those things in the world, material things in the world, but if family is not there for you, is that truly success? I don't think it is. So my success is my family. The fact that my wife for 32 years still stands behind me, still loves me, my children still respect me, they still love me, the grandkids always are excited to see me. To me, that is my definition of success. I have succeeded in this life journey to this point.
So like family is actually everything, to be honest. Family is everything. Pops, who inspire you the most and why?
That's a great question, right? We all have a lot of people that have inspired us, through life. But the person that inspired me the most, it's about my foundation as a kid, right? And we as young men, every time that we're asked such questions, we always say, well, our mothers or, fathers or what have you. But to me, in the true sense, my mother has inspired me over the years. A humble person, hardworking person, had 7 children, never gave up. Whether, things were hard or not, was always there, very supportive, encouraging. That has been always my inspiration. Even though she's gone, she still inspires me because I know that I keep asking myself the question, if my mother came here today, what would she say about her son? My career choices, what would she say about those? Good or bad? The answer probably would be yes. My marriage life, what would that be like for her? Absolutely excellent. Your kids. So to me, she has been my inspiration all this time, even till now. Even though she's gone, she still is the one.
Pops, I know you're a family head. You have a great family. We always come here and mommy welcomes us like her own children. We can pick anything that we want, and still she smiles with us, and we love that about her. What does leadership means to you?
Well, leadership is, first of all, a true leader. You have to demonstrate, first and foremost, what good looks like. Okay. You have to understand the people that you're leading. Okay. You have to be mature. There's something that we call emotional intelligence, right? In order to have those leadership skills, there's certain traits that you have to have. Being responsible, holding yourself accountable, understanding the next person, trying to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. There are so many traits and qualities that you have to know that you as an individual possesses, first and foremost, in order to call yourself a leader. Because to lead people, even your own family members, you have to understand each member of your family to know how to deal with each and every one of them. They are all not the same. All the fingers are not the same. So people that have been leaders, successful leaders in our time, generations, have been people that always take the time, first of all, to serve. A good leader serves, not just commands. A good leader sacrifices for others. A good leader celebrates when others are successful, not envious or jealous. A good leader always puts himself in somebody else's shoe to ask the question, if that was me, how will I feel like? So when you can understand all these things, understand these key points in depth, self-awareness, all these things I mentioned makes you attempt to be a good leader. There are going to be challenges all the time for a leader, but what do you do as a leader when those challenges faces you?
Pops, I've had a quite of young people asking me because to me, I'm not boasting, but there are a lot of people that they are inspired by my journey so far. But I feel like most young ones, most ladies, young ladies, young teens, they don't actually know their purpose. I want you to tell us, share with us, how can somebody know or truly know their purpose in life? What are some of the things that they need to take into consideration?
So, knowing what your purpose is in this life journey, for some people, it's hard to know what their purpose is at that very young age. Okay, I'll give you an example. So my son Jalen, who went to WT, or attended WT in 2018, 1918. He went to school, wanted to study engineering. Okay. Shortly after that, he wanted to change his major into something else. And then he wants to go into bodybuilding. And then he wanted to go into personal training. He was all over the place. So he still didn't know what his purpose was, not just academically or in society, but him as a human being. What is his true calling, right? Some may say my purpose is to be a mother. My job is that's my purpose. I'm just here on earth to have babies and be married and have kids. So if I understand your question right, your purpose is something that is at core. What wakes you up at night? What keeps you awake at night? What do you always think about at night or every day? What is that number one? It's like your instinct. God has given us instincts. And God has also told us that he who has ear, let him hear. Your instinct talks to you. This is what your passion is. If you grew up on a farm and you farmed your entire time as a kid, and you deviate from that, you go do engineering, maybe that's not your calling. Maybe your true calling is what you were born to do. So when you take a time to understand what your passion is, your true passion, what keeps you awake at night, that will help you define what your purpose is.
Wow, that's profound. Pops, what actually changed your perspective about life?
Yeah, that's a tough question. Perspective, perceptions, those are words that is being used intertwined, interchangeable, right? My perception on certain things, my perspective on life about certain things. It is a tough question. So I'll give an example. Okay. So the company that I work for, I've been in this company now for the last 16 years now. And there will always be people that are in your corner as a minority. I don't want to play the race card by any means, but it's reality, right? So I'll give an example. So I went through what we call some kind of a phase training during the early part of my career, where you're sent out for a week or so to train on certain things. And you go into this modules, those training modules, and in your mind you're doing very well, right? But yet there are some naysayers. There's some people still in that panel, the judging panel, one or two that say, well, Bernie didn't do this or didn't do that or didn't do that. And I watch some of the panelists in my corner. And in that moment, I've never been in a corporate world before to that point. So seeing humanity come together for what is good, right? Seeing people that they didn't know me from anywhere. All of a sudden, this young kid with a strong accent from some country, obviously, competing, training against people that were born here and raised here. Well, I hate to say it, but the race card sometimes is real. But seeing those few people that I said, no, Bernie, you did excellent. You did this. We think you did this. You did this. And they take you aside after the training and say, hey, don't let those people get you down. It makes you see things differently. You have different perspective on humanity as a whole. There were good people out there. Ties back to the previous statement that you made about focus, right? Staying focused, staying the course. Come rain or shine, that is the course.
That's of course. Yeah.
As we sit here, I'm doing certain projects in Ghana right now, and sometimes, people will say, well, but you're an American citizen, well, you don't need anything in Ghana, well, you don't ever want to go to Ghana, well, guess what? I was born in Ghana. I may be an American citizen, but if you,
Yeah, that's true.
home is home. It's about legacy. I may not be here tomorrow, I may not be here 5 years from now, I may not be here 10 years from now, who knows? But if I can leave something for my children, my grandchildren, whether it's here or it's home, that is what life is about.
Papa, you just mentioned something. You just said legacy, right? What legacy do you want to leave? Yeah.
No, I mean, that's a great question, right? So legacy for me, there's a saying that a good name is better than riches.
Okay.
Good name is better than riches. If I'm gone someday, I want people like you and her and Abraham and Ben and people coming around and say, man, this was a good man. This man was not selfish. He was generous. He was kind. He was loving. And he was inspirational. And above all, his family loves him.
I think all that you just mentioned, right? Anybody who has come close to you knows it.
Thank you.
Knows it. And I'm so grateful to God that we have somebody like you, a dad who we can always call at any time. This question is from someone
Sure.
for me to ask you. Recently, there was a Junior Olympics game in Ghana. And since I came to America, I realized one thing, that parents here, they follow their kids to games, wherever they go, they still have time for them. And per the recent Junior Olympics that went on in Ghana, we saw something really profound, like where parents were going to watch. The person said I should ask you, what's your opinion? What do you think about the Junior Olympics that went on in Ghana?
So what I think about the Junior Olympics in Ghana, the program in general, or as...
Yeah, the program in general,
Okay.
and the implementation, like how it came up and everything.
Yeah. So first of all, back in my day as a kid in Ghana, right, going to, kindergarten to, prep schools and, high schools and junior high schools and stuff like that, secondary schools, back in the day, we had sports in every school you go to, right? One way or the other, one form or the other. But we never had such a thing. We never had a platform as the Junior Olympics. And I say that because I know Coach Elom Amalapo very, very well. I know Benjamin Azamati very, very well. They're like my sons. I've shared bread with them. They call me Pops. These are two young people that have a vision. Okay? As great as they are, world-class athletes, they are reaching back to return the favor. It's a great opportunity for the youth. It's a great, great, great platform that I pray that people will see the benefit, the value in it, the vision, the long-term vision, not the short-term, the long-term vision, where Ghana can continue producing world-class athletes. We have the talent. We have the talent. We have the skill sets. But unfortunately, we haven't had the direction and the guidance to make that happen. Those things happen once you get to university. Then you may have some chance to do something here and there on a large scale. But we never had that platform or that, stage where little kids are offered or provided opportunity to shine. So you start seeing who those key, nuggets are to be developed in the future. So I applaud the Junior Olympics that has been happening, I think, the last 4 years or so, 3-4 years or so. I've been watching from the scenes, and I reach out to the key sponsors and organizers, and I support them from the back scenes, behind the scenes. I think it's great. It's great for Ghana, and I will applaud our leaders. You know, our leaders in Ghana, I will applaud and beg and plead that, look, every year when those fiscal budgets are being put together, I pray that they carve something out to support this great, great, great organization called the Junior Olympics. Because we either grow together or we all fall together.
Wow.
We win as a nation or we lose as a nation. And the youth are the true future leaders of our country. Why am I saying that? I live in America comfortably. Could I have been in Ghana working in Ghana? Probably yes. But is the system set in place? Is the infrastructure set in place for me to do what I can do, leveraging my skill sets? Can I use my skill sets in Ghana today? The answer, unfortunately, is no. Which is sad to say, but it's reality. So we have to start looking within as leaders of our country, of Ghana, to see what matters. We build from the bottom up. And unfortunately, our culture has always never been able to do that.
Thank you so much, Pap, for all that you said about the Junior Olympics. I know it was a great event for kids to showcase their talent and show who they really are. And I think it's a great privilege for us as a country, Ghana, to take it upon ourselves to get more Olympians like Benjamin Azamari. Yeah.
Isaac Bochwe.
There's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Abraham Sineke, there's a lot of people. Pops, the next question, and that will be the last question.
Sure.
What will be your question for me to ask our next guest?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So the question I would like to ask your next guest will be, how much are you willing to sacrifice for what matters to you?
Wow.
How much are you willing to sacrifice everything for what matters to you?
That's great. Wow. Thank you so much, Pops. All right. Thank you for having us and coming along with us to have a great chat with Mr. Bernard Kwaku. He has been a great dad to us, and I know if you follow the story very closely, you got inspired. He shared a lot of key things, and I know it's going to help you as you navigate your way to become a great leader, a great person in life. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't liked it, like it. And you know always, I like my comments. So always, let me know what you think in the comment section. And thank you for watching. See you.
Thank you for having me.